All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for attending our Dynamics GP roadmap for 2022 and beyond. My name is Ashley. I work here at Armanino, and I am presenting with Steve Chapman and Scott Schimberg. Just a couple webinar tips for everyone today. If our presenters will answer any Q&A questions that you have. If you have additional questions, make sure to type them in the Q&A portion button on the window and then click send. For chat, you can open the chat panel and type your message and hit enter to send. If you have any troubles with testing your audio, at the bottom left-hand corner of the Zoom meeting bar, you'll either find headphone or microphone logo to join audio, mute, unmute, and within 72 hours of this webinar, you will receive a link to download with the slide deck and recorded presentation. And with that, I would like to present Steve and Scott. Take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to take a look at Dynamics GP and moving to the cloud. I'm with Armanino. I've been working with Dynamics GP for over 20 years, and more recently with Business Central.
Hi, Scott Schimberg. I'm the head of our technology deployment team here at Armanino. And one of the things that I really like doing is helping customers live the dream. And so helping them in a better way of living the dream than what I had as being the head of finance admin for an organization, and just really helping our customers. And today we'll be talking about our Dynamics GP offering. All right, for our roadmap, we're going to cover some of the Great Plains roadmap that Microsoft is putting out. We'll talk a little bit about some cloud tools that we can see, and we've had quite a few questions about how to enhance your IT stack, to what you could do today, given the state of where the Dynamics GP is in today. And then we'll talk about, what are the options around moving to the cloud, as well as some product updates from Microsoft.
All right, Microsoft is solidly behind Dynamics GP. And what you're going to see in the next few slides is how they're going to support GP into the future. Now, this is a good slide. I like this slide because there's a couple things happening. One is there's a change in the life cycle of the product. Dynamics GP is moving from a fixed life cycle to what they call a modern life cycle. And this graph kind of puts that all together and shows you kind of the demarcation between the fixed and the modern life cycle. Also within this, there's two types of support. There's mainstream support, where you get tax updates, bug fixes, feature enhancements, and security enhancements. And then there's extended support. We'll talk a little bit more about this. So what's really important on this slide here is basically the bottom slide, the bottom portion of it, where Microsoft is committed to supporting Dynamics GP up through and beyond 2028. So that should be good news for Dynamics GP users. Here's another view of the fixed life cycle. So basically anything before 2018, GP 2018, is going to be on a fixed life cycle support. And what that means is I've got mainstream support and extended support. You can see the dates there. And you can also see on the right-hand side the versions that relates to. And then we'll take a look at what that really means, what the extended support is, and what the life cycle support is, excuse me, the mainstream support. So mainstream support with the Dynamics GP product includes the tax updates, includes the year-end updates. So if there's a change in 1099 forms, that's included in the year-end updates. It also always includes security updates and non-security hot fixes, which are little bug fixes, things that may come up in different versions. They'll go back and fix those. There's also some feature updates from time to time, and those would be included in a mainstream support. The extended support, however, happens after about 5 years with the fixed life cycle. And what that means is you will no longer get tax updates or feature updates, but they will have security updates, which is important, right? Those security updates will generally go from basically another 5 years out. So what's important to you is we realize that Armanino is behind you. We can support Microsoft Dynamics GP up through the end of the extended period for the GP version. And what that really includes is incident support. So if you have an issue with GP, we can work with you to solve that. We also have managed services programs that really encompass working with your GP system from not only a support standpoint, but also just from a general use standpoint. So Armanino is solidly behind Dynamics GP as well as Microsoft is up through the extended period of time. Microsoft, as I mentioned earlier, has switched Dynamics GP to what they refer to as the modern lifecycle version. So what this means is going forward up through at least 2028, Microsoft's going to be issuing 3 releases throughout the year, every year, that addresses these types of things. So you can see like new features and bug fixes, tax and year-end updates are going to be happening at these periods of time, October, June, and basically December. What Microsoft is saying is if you want to stay current on GP in the modern lifecycle version, you'll have to take at least one of those updates during the year. And these updates are similar to maybe a service pack that you're doing now on GP for like the year end or just a tax update, year end update. And it's the same level of work really. So what we see and what we're seeing with Dynamics GP past 2018 is that these upgrades are relatively easier to administer to existing systems. So if you want to know what version your system is on, there's going to be one version for your system which relates to the application, the software itself, and then that's coordinated with the database too. What you can do is you can navigate to within GP in this manner to find out what the Microsoft Dynamics GP version is. And on this particular slide in the far right there, you see it's 12.00 Service Pack 1, right? So this helps us understand what version your system is on. And if you want to know where it is, you can navigate in this area to find that information.
All right, thank you, Steve. So one of the things that we found is that most business software is moving to the cloud or has already moved to the cloud. And there are several business software products that can be used with your current GP environment. And we do get a lot of questions, and so we wanted to highlight one of those offerings here today about how do you continue to make advancements in your organization's IT stack, even if you're not ready to go to the cloud on your ERP solution. And so this one is related with Solver, and this is where we hear a lot of companies are asking about the FP&A capabilities. How do we get better combination of reporting, better ability to do forecasting, and better way to do budgeting in a structured way using some tools? And Solver has a great tie-in to the Dynamics environment, both on-prem and hosted environments. And it also has the ability to be able to be upgraded as you upgrade going from your GP to the cloud on a BC environment. This is a tool that can stay with you through that entire process and migrate with you as you go from GP over into the Business Central. And so this is a great tool to kind of think about how do you do your budgeting today, put it in a structure, put it in the cloud, and then be able to migrate as you move forward as well. And so these are things that we think are important for our customers. We do get a lot of questions around what are the budgeting and forecasting tools available for GP, and we want to make sure that you're aware that this works not only today, but it'll also grow with you. All right, and so moving to the cloud, there is a path to move forward to the cloud, and Steve's going to talk a bit more about, you know, how do you remain on the Microsoft stack and move to the cloud?
All right, so Microsoft is solidly behind Dynamics GP. We've talked about that, but they also know that a lot of clients want to move to the cloud. They want to go from on-premise into the cloud, and they provided a way to do that. And really, essentially, the way to do that is to move to Business Central. Business Central is a complete cloud solution. It's software as a service. The licensing is different. The way it's administered and managed is in Azure. So it's a complete cloud solution. And Microsoft is offering a way for existing Dynamics GP clients or on-premise clients to easily move to the cloud, which means moving to Business Central. So what they've done is, this is a pricing promotion, and it's effective now through June 30th of 2022. There's basically two requirements. One is you have to have a Dynamics GP license, and you've got to be also current on your enhancement plan. So the value of this particular promotion is that they'll give you two things. One is a 60% discount on the Business Central Essential licenses or the Business Central Premium licenses. Plus, you'll also have dual access to your existing on-premise or your Dynamics GP system. You'll have the benefits of your enhancement plan from Dynamics GP. And basically you're spending the same amount of money on enhancement plan, but you get the Business Central licenses. This promotional period is for 1 year, but can be extended for another 3 years, which means you can, if you want to, get that reduced pricing on Business Central for up to 4 years. Now, there is one catch. One catch is, even though your enhancement plan for Dynamics GP stays intact, you can't go back to Dynamics GP. So it offers you a very good deal on Business Central licenses and gives you some time to really make that move. If you know that you want to move to the cloud and you'd like to move to Business Central, this is a good promotion because you'll get the reduced licensing costs. You'll get some time to make that decision. You can take some time up front to really find out more about Business Central. And then if you decide to move ahead, you can cut over to that. You can go through, rather extended period of time to set it up just the way that you want to, and then move your data over there. And then you can take advantage of the reduced licensing price up to 4 years from the initial time. So it's a pretty good promotion. There's more to it, and we'd be happy to talk with you about that as well. So what I want to talk here is compare a little bit Dynamics GP and Business Central. So both Dynamics GP and Business Central, they're mid-market solutions, and they have a lot of the same functionality. And here's just a list, and the next slide also has a list of some comparisons of different aspects of the two systems. You'll receive this as part of being part of this webinar, so we'll send that to you in email. But there's a couple things on these pages that I want to show. One is the upgrades and the updates. Right now, if you have an on-premise Dynamics GP system, you've got to, from time to time, you have to update it. And it's kind of a big deal. You have to go update the database, you have to update the application, and you've got to roll that out to all your users. Well, with Business Central is a complete cloud solution, software as a service. There are automated updates, so you're always on the current version. There's about 2 to 3 updates per year that will give you new functionality, any bug fixes. So it's something that generally will happen without you taking any action. If you need to have a test system for, say, Sarbanes-Oxley purposes, you can do that. But generally, most of our clients just roll with the upgrades as they come out. You'll get advance notice of what the different features are, so you can take advantage of them. But it's a big benefit for a cloud solution. Let's go to the next here. This is some additional information of comparisons between the two products. But I want to highlight one thing, which is the integrations. What we're finding, a lot of our clients have integrations to external systems that they've created, or other external systems like, say, Bill.com. What we're finding is that integrations are easier to do with the cloud solution. It's just easier. A lot of the integrations already exist. So for example, you go to Bill.com, you already have an integration to Business Central, and there's many others that already have that. If we're doing a custom solution for you, a custom integration, it's generally easier to connect to Business Central to get the information that you want one way or the other, or both ways, right? So it's easier to get that information. Let's go to the next. I really like this slide because it does a couple of things. One is it shows you general areas within Business Central, what you can do with it. And what you'll see is a lot of it's similar to what you can do in Dynamics GP. Now, there's some additional functionality in there. Primarily, I like to tell people about the warehouse management. So in Business Central, you have a complete warehouse management functionality. It's built right into the system, and it's available on all the licenses. So it's not an add-in, it's already there. So if you want to expand your inventory functionality to include warehouse management, it's already built in. Plus, Microsoft has added a lot of additional information, KPIs, built-in intelligence. Also, the dashboards are interactive, and they're right there on the home page. You can drill down and get additional information, and it's all set up. It's ready to go. It's also easy to get that information and use tools like Power BI to make it real usable for your user group. And then another part of I like about this is on the right-hand side, I can deliver, or you can get Business Central in different ways. You can have it on your laptop, desktop, but you also can have it easily on mobile devices, and you can have it on your phone. There's out-of-the-box mobile applications that you can download from Microsoft. They'll go right to an iPhone or an Android device. They're all ready to go. They have basically the solution there. You can access all the information in your Business Central system. You can act on that data. You can also create transactions within it. You can also, here we're just looking at the Business Central application, but there's a lot of interaction with the Microsoft Office products as well.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, on the updates around BC and the differences for sure. Hey, but one thing we want to talk about is why is there a digital transformation, or why do you need to think about a digital transformation for your organization? And the number one reason is that when you implemented your system, let's say it's 7 to 10 years ago, what we find with our customers is that their business has changed. Their business processes, the transactions that they're working on, there's been some nuance that's happened that is causing change. And what we found is that what was in the system is now becoming along with the system. When there's a big difference of what I just said. In the system, you're processing and getting reporting out of the system, and along with what we find is that our customers have built in new processes and procedures that didn't exist when they originally implemented and are now part of their day-to-day routine outside of the system. And so that's kind of moving along with the system, not in the system. And so this is an opportunity to really evaluate the business and automate via standard functionality feature sets within the Microsoft stack to kind of continue to go along and match up to where your business has grown over the years. So this is an opportunity for the why, or make an improvement in the why of making this change into going to the cloud. The other, as we all know, and I won't spend a lot of time on this, is just the disruption. We call it VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, ambiguity, and complexity that happens in the business environment, and being able to be very as flexible as possible to kind of work in the current environments that we have that's gone on. We've all lived through that over the last 2 years. And then the third one is around a newer workforce, and that really comes into play of how do you attract and also retain workforce. And so through some of the feedback that we've had from customers and our clients is that their team members find it important to work with modern tools to kind of build up their skill sets, to continue to create an environment where they're learning, to create an environment where they're able to add to their skill set and be able to move forward and have something that's inspiring, that is modern day, and will be able to help carry them well into the future along that. And that has been one of the key things about not only retaining workforce, but also attracting new workforce to organizations. And then just the technology has evolved and the ease of use of being able to move things forward. So going to the cloud where updates come out automatically, we're finding the ISVs are keeping pace, keeping current with the upgrade schedules and processes of being able to make that happen. And then also keeping, the integrations, as Steve had mentioned earlier, just really makes a huge difference in terms of the ease of use has really come into play, let alone some of the new features and functionality that comes in and ease of use of working on handhelds, iPads, and other technology that really makes it work well in a day-to-day life cycle.
Okay, let's take a brief look at some of the product updates that Microsoft has rolled out recently. And this is representative of some of the updates that they've done already and are available in the system. And right now we're kind of talking about the modern life cycle. So these types of enhancements are coming out from Microsoft, and you can see basically a description of what some of those items are. We'll send this deck out to you. These are all these selections here have links so you can download and see what the actual the benefit and what the actual function change is. So some of that's pretty good. GP continues to work on their workflow and excuse me. In some of the other areas there, you can see where they're adding functionality here and there to make the system more relevant, more modern, as things change, as Scott said. And this will be a good resource for you to find out what's happening in GP.
All right, and so our goal today was to, present some background of where Microsoft's current status is of where they're taking the product and moving forward, how you get support, other things that you could work with and grow with in terms of other products, and then also really being able to understand, what's available to you in terms of other opportunities as you make a decision of around your IT stack or ERP system. And so I'm sure there's questions that will come out. You could ask them if we have a few minutes remaining. You could put them in the chat and ask for them, or you could also reach out to your Armanino client manager, myself, and or Steve Chapman, and we'd be willing to have a conversation with you around kind of, what is the trajectory that would be specific to you and your organization of how you would like to be able to proceed.
Thank you both very much for jumping on this 30-minute webinar today. We just have a few more questions here surrounding ISVs and what we have as it pertains to software vendors and integrations with GP.
So there was a question about ISV. Literally what that stands for is independent software vendor. And those are add-in products. You might refer to them as third-party products. Microsoft, both GP and Business Central, has a wider range of third-party products or ISV products that really enhance the functionality of GP and Business Central. And Microsoft has a marketplace where you can take a look at that, and it's called Microsoft App Source. And what's really handy about that is in Business Central, for example, you can find something on App Source, you can download it into your system, typically on a trial basis, just to see how it works. So it's easy to look at some of that functionality. And if you like the functionality, you test it out, you like it, go ahead and license it. So it's pretty handy. There's also a question about Project Como, and I'm not really familiar with that. I suspect it has something to do with in Azure, there's a new data storage functionality that's coming out. It's out already, but it's called a data lake. And Armanino is doing a fair amount of work in the data lake area because it can hold a lot of data, and it's typically for analysis. So we use Power BI a lot, and what we're finding is the data lake provides a good place to store that information. Also, we have clients that are using using the data lake or in Azure to upload their GP data so that they can access it in Azure. And there's also really nice smart list type product that works in VC, but can also reference the GP data in Azure. So there's a number of ways that we're seeing that data lake being used, and Azure in general. So it's going to be an area that's going to have a lot more development, or a lot more functionality coming out, and we're developing to that right now.
Thanks, Steve. I have a couple people asking about a demo or a trial version of Business Central. Can you speak to what would be the best path for them to be able to see Business Central in action?
So you can, Microsoft makes available trial versions of Business Central, and you can sign up for trial. There's probably a couple of ways to do it, but basically if you Google Business Central trial with Microsoft, you'll get a link, and you can typically have a 30-day trial. There may be other options, but you can certainly get a trial for 30 days. You can have a number of different users in your trial version. The trial version has sample data in it, so you can see what it looks like. And it would be a good place to if you want to kind of explore what Business Central looks like, because it's different than GP, of course. And it's a cloud solution, and you can poke around a little bit and get a better idea of it. If you'd like, we'd be happy to kind of help you with that discovery and just kind of show you different parts of it and what might pertain to your specific needs.
I believe that's also why Microsoft did the bridge to the cloud solution as well. So even if you just get like a demo version is one part, but if you want to see your own live environment, that's kind of what they're encouraging with the bridge to the cloud.
Yeah, that's just another step up to try it out, and then you can convert your data over there if you'd like.
All right. Are you familiar with the tool for financial reporting called F9?
I am. And I'm not sure whether F9 has an integration to Business Central or not. I know it's a pretty popular financial reporting tool out there, but I'm not familiar with whether they have integration. So one way to quickly check that out is go to Microsoft App Source and search on F9. Not everything is there, but it may be there, and I'm not sure. Or just go to F9's site, and typically the ISVs or third-party vendors will have a link to, or have some information on whether it connects to Business Central.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, we're just here at the end of our 30 minutes here. Thank you so much for taking the time to give the roadmap and the updates as it pertains to GP for 2022 and beyond. As I mentioned earlier, this will be available as a recording, and it will also be available the slide deck with all of the hyperlinks that will show you all the greatest updates that they have done for the modern life cycle. Thank you all for attending, and we hope you have a great Monday.